Let's jump right in, shall we?
Okay.
Today, we are going to be taking a deep dive into the world of Shuggie Bain,
Ooh.
the protagonist of Douglas Stuart's Booker Prize-winning novel.
Yes.
And we're going right to the source.
Right.
We're using excerpts from the book itself. So you are getting an unfiltered look at Shuggie's life
Okay.
in 1980s Glasgow.
Wow.
Poverty,
Yeah.
addiction, complex family dynamics,
Right.
but also
Okay.
resilience, hope,
Yeah.
heartbreak, all of it.
This book is fascinating because it's so rooted in this particular place and time
Right.
that it's tackling these universal themes,
That's-
love, lost
yeah.
connection,
Yeah.
yearning for connection.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter your background, you relate to this.
And Stewart uses such vivid imagery
Oh, yeah.
right from the start
Right away.
to pull us into Shuggie's world.
Yeah.
There's this early scene where he's working in a butcher shop,
Okay.
and young Shuggie's almost obsessed
Okay.
with arranging these chicken carcasses.
It's like perfectly.
Just perfectly. And it seems like such a small detail.
Yeah.
But it says so much about him,
Oh, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
Here's this kid, his family's falling apart, the community around him is really struggling,
It's tough.
and he finds a weird kind of comfort
Yeah.
in making order
Right.
out of these discarded things.
These pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's trying to impose beauty on this world
Totally.
that feels inherently broken.
Yeah, and I think it foreshadows a lot of what we see
Right.
with Shuggie throughout the novel.
Yeah, this yearning for stability
Right.
keeps coming up again and again.
Exactly.
And then we have his family.
Yeah.
And his family is anything but stable.
Right.
Right. You've got his mom, Agnes,
Very,
this
very,
beautiful,
very strong.
complicated woman
Right.
who's battling alcohol addiction.
Yeah.
And the book does not shy away from that at all, from the harsh realities of what
Mm.
that struggle is like
Yeah.
and how it impacts everyone around her,
Oh, absolutely, and especially Shuggie,
especially Shuggie.
who has this incredibly close but complicated relationship
Yes.
with his mom.
And you see Agnes kind of clinging to appearances,
Mm.
you know, her new dentures,
Okay.
wanting nice things.
Yeah.
I think it makes you wonder if it's her way
Yeah.
of holding on to dignity
Okay.
in a world
Yeah.
that's constantly reminding her of her poverty.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
Because it's like this image of control,
Yeah.
even when everything's spiraling.
Totally.
Yeah.
The bingo nights,
Yeah.
the shopping sprees,
Right out of those catalogs.
the catalogs. Yes. It's like she's chasing this feeling
Yeah.
of happiness.
That fleeting happiness.
Yes, but it
You never lasts.
never lasts.
Yeah.
It always comes crashing down.
And that cycle is even worse.
Right.
Because of their finances,
Right.
the financial
They're
instability.
trapped
Yeah.
in a system that offers little to no support.
And she's making decisions out of desperation,
Yes.
which just digs them in deeper
Exactly.
into debt.
And it's not just Agnes
No.
contributing to this instability.
Right.
Shuggie's father, Shug,
Yeah.
is largely absent throughout the book, you know, so that adds another layer
Exactly.
to this already fractured family.
Right. And you see how Agnes wants love.
Yeah.
She wants security.
Sure.
And without a reliable partner,
Yeah.
she's chasing those moments of connection.
Right.
Whether it's with Shug
Right.
or with the move to Pithead.
Right.
She's hoping things will be different.
Every time.
Every time.
But it's not.
The disappointment is always there.
It's always there.
Yeah. Lurking. And all of this upheaval
Yeah.
impacts the kids.
Each of them.
So much, in different ways.
Different ways.
Catherine, the older sister,
Yeah.
dreams of escaping.
Yeah.
And she finds temporary comfort in relationships.
Leek, the older brother,
Mm-hmm.
is more withdrawn.
Yeah.
He finds refuge in his art.
Right.
But Shuggie
Yeah.
is this incredibly sensitive kid.
Yeah.
He's perceptive.
He sees everything.
He absorbs it all.
Yeah.
Especially his mother's pain.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's so aware
Yeah.
of their poverty.
How it sets them apart.
Yeah, how it makes them different, how it
Ah.
makes them ostracized.
Right.
And this awareness leads to so much difficulty
Oh, yeah.
for him in school.
That school.
From the bullying
Mm-hmm.
to just struggling to fit in.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't neatly fit into
Yeah.
that strict Catholic Protestant divide
Right.
that defines Glasgow
Glasgow at the time.
at the time.
Yeah, imagine being that kid
Right.
already feeling different because
Yeah.
of your family,
Right.
and then you don't fit into these other categories. It's
Mhm.
no wonder he has trouble finding his place.
And yet,
Mm-hmm.
even with all this darkness,
Yeah.
there are these little glimmers of hope.
There are.
Like when Agnes tries to get sober,
Yeah.
or when she connects with Eugene,
Eugene,
the
right.
taxi driver,
Yes.
who briefly brings this sense of normalcy into their lives.
And those moments,
Yes.
however fleeting they are,
Yeah.
they're a glimpse of what could be.
Right.
And they really highlight Shuggie's love
Yes.
for his mom.
His devotion.
His devotion. He cares for her.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to protect her.
Yes.
Even as her addiction is just wearing him down.
It's heartbreaking.
It is so heartbreaking.
It's so beautiful.
It's also beautiful.
It is. Yeah.
Both.
It's both.
Yeah.
But, as we'll see,
Mm-hmm.
even these tiny flickers
Yeah.
are eventually extinguished
Yeah.
by the harsh realities they face.
Right.
Yeah. And things just keep getting worse when a fire rips through their flat.
Oh, wow.
It leaves them, even more vulnerable.
It's almost symbolic, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
that fire destroys any stability they had left, pushes them even further.
Yeah, and then
Edge.
in the aftermath of this tragedy, you really start to see the family unravel.
Yeah.
Catherine decides to leave
Yeah.
with her boyfriend, go to South Africa,
She wants a fresh start.
a fresh start.
Yeah.
Escape the poverty.
It's like a turning point
Yeah,
when she leaves.
it is.
Because it sets off this domino effect.
Yeah.
It increases the tension between Agnes and Leek, the brother who stayed behind.
Okay.
And eventually he goes to live with their grandmother, Lizzie.
And Lizzie is interesting.
Yeah.
She's like this anchor
Yeah.
for Agnes and Shuggie.
This symbol.
A symbol of a simpler time.
Yes, when things felt more secure.
Like, more stable.
Right.
But even Lizzie's love, it's not enough
No.
to shield them from this darkness.
And Lizzie's death is so devastating.
And for both of them.
For both of them. For Agnes and Shuggie,
Yeah.
it's like losing their last lifeline.
Yeah, and then on top of that,
Wooly gets sick.
Wooly, Agnes's father.
Right, her dad.
Yeah.
And he just declines.
Yeah, it's so sad to see him.
Yeah.
Because he was kind.
Once he was,
so kind and stable.
a source of stability.
Yeah.
And now
Just a shell.
a shell of his former self.
And as their support system is just crumbling around them,
Yeah.
Agnes really starts to spiral downward.
Uh-huh.
Her relapses become more frequent.
Yeah.
The isolation, it's suffocating.
Both of them.
For both of them, yeah.
It's off.
And in these moments where she's so desperate,
Right.
you see her seeking solace
Yeah.
with other men, these fleeting encounters.
That often lead to
Exploitation.
There was no support
Yeah.
for women like her,
Yeah.
especially back then.
And then there's that scene with Colleen
Honey
McAvenny.
neighbor.
Right. It's so raw, so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think it really shows the judgment,
The judgment.
the disapproval
The disapproval.
that Agnes is constantly facing.
Oh, yeah. Colleen represents that
Yeah.
societal judgment.
Yeah.
And Agnes's defiance.
Yeah.
Her refusal to just conform.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
But it's also empowering.
It is. It shows her spirit.
Yeah.
Her refusal to be completely broken.
Yeah.
Even as she's pushing everyone away.
Yeah.
And through all of this,
Hmm.
Shuggie is there.
Yeah.
He sees his mother's struggles.
Yeah.
He tries to pick up the pieces.
And there's that scene where he tries to teach her to dance.
Oh, that scene. Ugh.
Oh my gosh. It's so gut-wrenching.
They just want
A moment of...
normalcy.
They want connection
Connection.
and normalcy.
They want something better.
Yeah.
But it's just...
But the reality...
the reality is...
circumstances...
are just so stacked against them.
And Shuggie, as he gets older,
Mm-hmm.
he's confronted by his own challenges.
Oh, yeah.
The bullying at school gets worse as he's becoming more aware of his difference,
Of how he's different.
particularly his emerging sexuality.
Right. Yeah.
He's in this incredibly restrictive environment.
He doesn't fit in.
He doesn't fit in.
He's an easy target.
Yes, for cruelty and prejudice.
From everyone, it seems like.
From his peers,
Yeah.
from authority figures,
The priest.
like the priest, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's that encounter with Bonnie Johnny.
Ugh, I don't even want to talk about that.
It's disturbing.
It's so disturbing.
It hints at this darker side
It does.
of what Shuggie is experiencing.
The abuse.
The abuse, the exploitation.
Yeah, the exploitation.
It's a reminder
It is.
of how vulnerable these kids are.
Kids in poverty.
Kids in poverty
Yeah. Who don't conform.
who don't fit in.
And it's almost too much to read as a reader.
I know.
And yet, Shuggie shows this resilience,
He does. He does.
this quiet strength that just keeps him going.
That keeps him going.
And as the story moves towards the climax,
Yeah. The tension. I mean, it's almost unbearable.
Agnes has that final relapse.
The final relapse.
And it feels different this time.
Yeah.
It feels final.
It goes.
Like things have gone too far.
And Shuggie is desperate to find her.
Yeah.
He goes on this frantic search.
Yeah.
It takes him to some really dark places.
Like Leanne's party.
Leanne's party.
Known for chaos.
Chaos. Excess.
Yeah.
And he finds his mother there.
Lost
Completely lost.
in her addiction.
Yeah. One of the most heartbreaking scenes.
It is, but there's also this shift in Shuggie.
There is like a shift.
He doesn't try to force her to be sober.
No.
There's this sense of acceptance.
Right.
This maturity.
That's heartbreaking in itself.
It is. It's heartbreaking, but it's also like he understands.
The hold that addiction has.
Yeah.
He just wants to get her home safe.
It's like he's the parent
Yeah.
in that moment.
Yeah.
And then when he confronts Shug,
Oh, yeah.
Father.
Dad.
He demands respect for Agnes.
even though Shug has been nothing but a disappointment.
Such a disappointment.
Yeah, and it's like Shuggie's finally stepping into his power.
Yeah, he's realizing he can't change his mom,
Right.
but he can choose how he responds.
And then there's a glimmer of hope.
a glimmer, right.
When Leek comes back,
Dude.
he comes back.
Yeah.
He's created some stability for himself.
Right.
He offers Shuggie this glimpse of what life could be like.
Yeah, outside their circumstance.
Inside their circumstance, yeah.
He tells Shuggie to focus on education.
Yeah.
Break the cycle.
Break the cycle.
Break free.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even in this bleak situation,
Right.
hope can exist.
Yeah.
But Leek's visit also shows how hard it is to break free from these cycles.
So hard.
He can offer support,
Yeah.
but Shuggie's path
Is his own.
is his own.
Yeah.
And that takes us to the final image.
Mhm.
Shuggie on the roof.
Of his build. Looking out at the city.
It's powerful.
Such a powerful visual.
It's isolation.
Isolation. Yeah.
Yearning for escape.
But he's still trapped.
Trapped, yeah.
With both despair
And
possibility.
yeah,
It's like, what happens to Shuggie?
we don't know.
Does that spark survive?
It's the question we're left with.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because Stuart doesn't give us the answers.
No fairy tale ending.
No.
rescue.
Nope.
Just this reality
Yeah.
that for so many people,
Like Shuggie,
like Shuggie,
survival is a struggle
Yeah.
every day.
a daily struggle
And the path
is never clear.
yeah, it makes you think,
Yeah.
what if Shuggie had had different opportunities?
What if he'd had support?
Support for him, for his family.
Yeah.
Would things have been different?
Such big questions.
Yeah.
About
responsible.
Life responsibility.
How much can resilience do?
When the system's failing you,
Yeah.
it's a lot to process.
It is.
I keep thinking about Shuggie on that roof.
Oh, yeah.
It's haunting.
Yeah.
Like, what happens to him?
Right.
Does that resilience, that spark,
Mm-hmm.
can it survive all that?
Oh, and that's what's so powerful
Yeah.
about the way Stuart ends it.
Right.
He doesn't give us those easy answers.
There's no fairy tale ending.
No.
No one swoops in to save him.
No, it's just this reality that for so many people like Shuggie,
Yeah.
survival is a daily struggle.
And the way forward
yeah.
is never clear.
never clear.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what if
What if things had been different?
different opportunities,
Yeah.
more support
Right.
for him, for his family?
What if there had been more support?
Yeah.
Would things have turned out differently?
It's a question about
It is.
societal responsibility.
Yeah, how much can we expect
How much resilience
individual resilience
can one person have
to overcome?
when the system is failing them?
Yeah,
It's heavy.
it's a lot.
So much to think about.
Definitely.
As you were reading,
Yeah.
what struck you?
About Shuggie.
Oh, Shuggie, yeah.
You know, I think what really stayed with me
Hmm.
was his capacity for love.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all the heartbreak,
Yeah.
his love for Agnes,
Mhm.
despite everything, it's so fierce.
So protective.
So protective, so unconditional.
Makes you think about the nature of love.
It does.
How can it survive
In that environment.
Yeah, that environment.
Like, how is that possible?
And it reminds you that love, it doesn't always mean enabling
No.
or condoning behavior.
It's about accepting
Accepting someone
for who they are,
as they are.
even when it hurts.
And that's such a hard lesson
Oh, yeah.
for anyone,
Especially for a child.
especially for a child.
It's incredible.
And Shuggie's story also makes you think about
Right.
the stereotypes.
About poverty.
Poverty addiction.
It's addiction, yeah.
Agnes is not just some caricature
Right.
of a drunk mother.
She's a real person
She's a whole person.
with her own
Desires.
Dreams, desire.
See pain. Yeah,
She's a product of her environment.
totally.
She's trapped
Then a cycle?
in a cycle that's so hard to break.
So hard.
And through her,
Stuart shows us
he shows us those systemic issues.
the lack of opportunity,
Yeah, the stigma,
the stigma.
inadequate support systems.
It makes you question
Yeah.
how much willpower
How much individual will,
can really change things.
when the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
But there's also beauty
There
and
is.
humanity in this book.
Right, the friendships.
Yeah, the small kindnesses.
Those little moments of joy.
They find those moments.
It
It reminds you,
that even in those situations,
even in the bleakest circumstances,
human connection.
can be a lifeline.
Yeah,
It's about the resilience,
of the human spirit.
finding hope
Hope and
when
love.
life feels impossible.
Yeah, that's the message.
That's what we take away.
It really is. So as we come to the end
Yeah.
of this deep dive,
Into Shuggie's world.
what do you want our listener to remember?
I want them to remember Shuggie,
Yeah.
his resilience, his love,
Uh-huh.
but also remember the system.
The systems that failed him.
Yeah, the systems that made it so hard.
I hope this sparks a
You
conversation
do.
about poverty, addiction,
About breaking free
breaking free. Yeah.
from those cycles.
We can't turn away from these hard truths.
We can't.
We have to face them.
And challenge our assumptions.
Create a world
Where stories like Shuggie's
are less about survival,
and more about thriving.
and maybe
Oh.
by engaging with these stories,
By having empathy.
we can start to build a better future,
A more just future.
a more equitable future.
That's what I hope.
So we'll leave you with this.
Okay.
If Shuggie's story could change one thing,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Think about it.
Think about it.
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for joining us
On this deep dive.
on this deep dive.